Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm testing out so many new products. I have the One Size Beauty Foundation, YSL blushes, Valentino lipsticks, the infamous Givenchy powder, and a few other bits. So I will be sharing my thoughts while I put together a look for the day. I also have a brand new skincare device to share with you from ERINNICOLE. This is their LED Illumina face mask, one of the most powerful LED masks on the market. This was sent to me complimentary a few weeks ago, so I got to test it early. This just launched, and I did partner with ERINNICOLE to not only share this mask with you, but to test it out over the next few months. So you'll be seeing my 3-month update, my 6-month update, and we will take a really good look at my skin. I've been a huge fan of red light therapy for a few years now, and it's honestly my favorite at-home skincare treatment, so I was very interested when ERINNICOLE reached out. So this is the only device that has red, infrared, and blue light at the same time. It has 360 medical grade LEDs, 3 different mode settings depending on your skincare goals. Mode 1 is red and infrared for anti-aging and improved circulation. Mode 2 is red, infrared, and blue, which is both anti-aging and anti-acne. And mode 3 is blue light, which fights acne-causing bacteria and inflammation. It's recommended to use the mask 3 to 5 times a week. I like to use mine every single day. I might skip a day or two, but it's really something that I do for myself. I like taking that 10 minutes in the morning. It feels like therapy to start the day. And what I love so much about this mask, not only is it more powerful because you have more LEDs, you also have more face coverage and better eye protection. It is the most comfortable hands-free mask that I've ever tried. It has 2 sets of straps. You don't have to use both if you don't want to. You could just use the top, but I find them so comfortable. They don't pull your hair. It feels so lightweight, so it's not sort of sagging off your face at any point. I'm usually just comfy in bed or watching TV, relaxing, taking those 10 minutes for myself. But if you are truly a busy bee and you have stuff to do, you can get your stuff done while you have your mask on. It's not going to interfere with your day at all. I have tried all 3 settings, but so far I think I prefer using my mask on mode 2, which is the red, infrared, and blue light. The red light helps to stimulate collagen, circulation, and the blue helps to kill any bacteria. So that helps with any little breakouts that I tend to get on my chin sometimes. It's only been a couple weeks. They say to expect better looking skin after 6 to 12 weeks. So I will be sure to share my updates and results after a couple months. I want to make sure my skin is perfectly prepped for makeup, so I'm going to go ahead and do a treatment on mode 2. All you have to do is attach the remote to the side right here, press the power button, select the correct mode, and then press on. I cannot wait to see my results in the next few months and share the updates with you. I have a promo code with a discount, and all of the information is linked down below in the description box to check out ERINNICOLE and get started. Right now, the only thing I have on my face so far is my normal skincare for the day. I feel like I'm glowing and I look really fresh-faced, so I'm ready for foundation. I'm excited to try this. It's the new One Size Turn Up the Base Full Beat Liquid Foundation. And this is shade medium 10. They sent over a cute little box with 3 shades. I think this is going to be the best shade match for me. They also included a sponge, which is really huge. I haven't been a huge fan of full coverage foundations for a while, so I figured the sponge will hopefully pick up maybe a little bit of that extra coverage. What made me interested is I watched a review yesterday on TikTok and the person loved this foundation. So I was like, okay, well, I have it too, so let me try it for myself and see if it's really good. Yeah, the sponge is really fast and big. Ooh, I do really like it. I love it, actually. Okay, let me finish before I get dramatic. There have been several new foundation launches, and I honestly haven't been all that excited about any of them, to be honest. The new Dior foundation stick, the Patrick Ta foundation, because I feel a little bit overwhelmed by my current collection. I just finished my 2nd full bottle of Hourglass Soft Glow. I moved something else to the top drawer, but I still feel like I need to go through some of my foundations before I can get really excited to try something else. So I've been sort of keeping my blinders on to all of these foundation launches, but this is actually really pretty. I can still see my skin shining through. That's what I was hoping for. I'm just no longer a full beats foundation type of lady. You know, sometimes I read a description of a foundation and I already know it's probably not meant for me anyways. Like the Patrick Ta foundation is supposed to be really, really light, like kind of sheer light coverage, exceptionally glowy. And that's just not typically the style of foundation that I really love. If I want something sheer and glowy, I'm probably just gonna go for a skin tint or maybe the Water Fresh tint from Chanel. You know, I have my tried and true products that sort of check that box already. I already have several stick foundations that I love, so I didn't feel like I needed to rush out to purchase the Dior. I'm sure I'll try it at some point, but I feel calm about it. Like I can wait until the savings event. If this hadn't shown up on my doorstep, I probably would have skipped this one too. But sometimes I try things that I don't think I'm going to love and I end up really liking them, and I think that's the case here. Because this looks like my skin. Not overly dewy, not overly heavy. I need to see how it's going to wear down. That's obviously the most important thing, but very, very initial impression is that it's really beautiful, way better than I expected it to be. I'm gonna stray slightly from my usual application order. I received 3 new YSL blushes. This is the Make Me Blush Liquid Blush. This is shade 37. It looks like a warm, dusty rose. I have not tried these yet. I'm sort of excited. I think it's going to be very, very thin, so I can maybe apply directly to the cheek. I feel like there were just so many liquid blushes launched all at once. It's been overwhelming to keep track. There was the Giorgio Armani liquid blush launch, the Anastasia. So many new liquid blushes have come out, and they all seem very similar. I do really like this shade. It has great reviews on the Sephora app. I want to say it has like close to 5 stars. Ooh, that is very pretty, very fresh. It reminds me a little bit of the Say Beauty Dew Blush. Very natural. I'm wondering if we can build it up just a little bit. See, the thing with liquid blushes is that they tend to spread. Of course, you want it to blend, but because they spread so much, that's why I wanted to go in with the blush first. And then I'm probably going to do my bronzer, and then I'll sort of clean everything up with my concealer. It shears out and it's kind of hard to concentrate the color with a blush like this. Very different from the Rare Beauty liquid blushes that are so intense. This is a new Too Faced stick bronzer. It's the Melting, Bronzing, and Sculpting Stick in shade Chocolate Mousse. And it smells like chocolate. It is so weird. It smells so good. You kind of want to take a bite of it. Honestly, smells delicious. Ooh, I wonder if this is going to be a good shade. This definitely seems more sculpting, and it's definitely melting because that is much softer than I thought it was going to be. Okay, let me... Oops. Well, at least it blends really nicely. Yeah, this is definitely a cooler tone, so this isn't really going to be a good bronzer shade, but more of a sculpting. I got really lucky that this isn't so pigmented and it blends out really nicely. It sort of shears out because that wasn't as terrible as it could have been. You know, if it was really thick like paint, that maybe would have been a disaster, but I think it looks okay. I don't have a new concealer. That's one of the few things that I don't have new. I know Westman Atelier just launched a new concealer. I'm tempted to try it, but I will most likely wait for the holiday savings event. The Natasha Denona concealer is on my wish list. I have heard so many great things about that concealer. It's supposed to be the best one yet. I'm so picky about concealer. I generally stick to the same few in the top drawer. This is the Fenty concealer. Which one is this? The We're Even Hydrating Longwear Concealer. I love this formula. Basically use it every single day. This or the Valentino. I also have a Dior Forever concealer and the Charlotte Tilbury concealer in the top drawer. Those are the 4 that I sort of rotate between at the moment. I think the sponge has been my secret weapon today because it really does pick up any excess product. So even though I've layered a bunch of creams, I can still see my skin. Everything over here that's blended still looks really fresh. If I had gone in with a brush, I probably would be looking a bit more full coverage. I always forget how much I like a sponge, and then I immediately go back to using my favorite brushes anyways because the convenience. I don't have a new setting powder to try either, so I'm just gonna stick with my Chanel setting powder. I have the new Givenchy Prism Leave Loose powder, but it is no longer a true setting powder in my opinion. I think the new formula of the Givenchy loose powder is best as a finishing powder. Because it has that luminosity, it's just not very flattering underneath the eyes. My three favorites used to be the Chanel, Huda Beauty, and Givenchy. Now it's basically a toss-up between the Chanel and the Huda Beauty. Now that everything's set with powder, I still think all of the products look really great. I can still see the blush, I can still see the bronzer, but the blush is very faint. I think the problem with using just this is it's almost too light and natural. I would say this would be great to tap on the cheeks if you're doing minimal makeup, but you can't really continue to build it up that much, or maybe not with this shade. Maybe one of the other shades it would work. So I'm going to go into my Dragon palette and I'm just going to touch up the blush a little bit more, just to add a little bit more color back to the face. And the Hourglass powders are so light and airy that it doesn't feel like I'm layering product after product. I want to touch up the bronzer a bit as well. On the eyes, I'm going to try this new Artist To Go palette from Makeup Forever. This is the 606 Wherever Walnut palette. With a fluffy brush, I'm going to go into Wherever Walnut. This really pretty brown up in the corner and looks very pigmented. So I am just going to buff that in the outer V, outer crease area. Yeah, it's definitely pigmented. It has been so long since I've used any Makeup Forever eyeshadows. I feel like their lip liners, their lipsticks, their complexion products have been really big lately. But I haven't seen any of their eyeshadows, I don't think. Not that I can remember. With a flat shader brush, I'm going to go into Spiced here in the middle, and I'm going to apply this to the lid. Now this is definitely giving me fall, sultry, kind of deeper, potentially smoky eyes. Really pretty colors though. The texture of this eyeshadow is really nice. Even though it's metallic, it goes on really smooth and velvety. So I don't have any fallout on my cheeks. This is definitely more of a neutral to cool eyeshadow palette. I know some people are so sick of warm tones and everything just pulls orange on them. This is definitely more neutral to cool. Same thing on the other side. I'm going in with Wherever Walnut and then Spiced on the lid. As soon as I opened up this palette, it just looked really sophisticated. I don't know why, it makes me think of New York and Fashion Week. These colors are just gorgeous. And I think I just really like the size of the palette. It's not overly intimidating. You don't feel like you're committing to 50 shades in one palette. With a small precision brush, I picked up a little bit of Wherever Walnut and I'm buffing that beneath the lower lash line. I was careful not to grab too much because I want to keep this daytime appropriate. With my precision brush, I am going to pick up a little bit of this eyeshadow down here, and I'm going to take that right in that outer V, outer lash line area, just to add a little depth. There's something about this palette, I don't know what it is. As soon as I opened it up, I fell in love. I quickly filled in my eyebrows. I did a little brown liquid eyeliner on the top lash line, and this is where we are. I kind of wanted to see what this would look like. I think I want to try something with this pale eyeshadow right here, Bare. This one in the corner, so I have another smaller sort of fluffy precision brush. Let's see, this is a rougher 13, but I kind of want to see what this will look like as a highlight, or at least to brighten up the inner corner. Yeah, I think that looks pretty. It's subtle. I've been doing very sparkly, glowy, metallic makeup, and it's nice to try something a little bit different. So we're going all matte, basically. A little bit on the brow bone as well. I don't want the complexion to look too matte, so I am going to apply a little bit of this highlighter, but I'm going to sort of mix the highlighter with the finishing powder in this Dragon palette. That way we have a little glow, but it's not really intense. Yeah, when you mix the two powders together, it's really subtle, which is exactly what I want. I curled my eyelashes and I applied my Tower 28 Make Waves mascara. And now this is my lippy for the day. I figured we should use Wherever Walnut since we did the eyeshadow palette. This will be the perfect match. And then I'm torn between these two Spike Valentino Buttery Matte lipsticks. I love the packaging of these lipsticks. They're gold, they're spiked. They're sort of a matte gold and it is refillable as well. So I think they'll probably sell the refills separately. That way you only need one of these little tubes. Such a pretty nude shade. I just sort of filled them in a little bit. I'm gonna smudge that around. This is pretty brown, so let's go with 134R. These are very comfortable and very buttery. Ooh, this is pretty dark. I feel like this is my first fall makeup look. And finally, to finish the makeup, I'm going to apply a little bit of the new Givenchy Prism Lead powder. So this has been reformulated. They removed the talc, but instead of having that perfect soft blur matte finish, it has luminosity to it. But I still really like this powder just as a finishing powder instead of a setting powder. So this is one way you can use it in case you don't like that luminosity. You're just gonna go in with your fluffy brush and then just lightly dust it all over the face. I'm basically using it like the Guerlain Meteorites as like a final step before getting out the door. It's not going to give you coverage, it's not meant to set your cream products, but it's just going to give you a little additional glow to the makeup. Not a ton of luminosity, just a little bit. So that's why I'm only doing a very light dusting. You can also use it to help blend all of the products together. You know, if you want to blend out your blush and bronzer a little bit more. You're not going to see a ton of shine to the makeup like you would if I went in with a velour puff and just sort of pressed it into wet makeup. And this is the final makeup look. Overall, considering just how many new products I tried today, I think it turned out really nice. Definitely feels like more of a fall makeup look. Cooler tones, less glowy, more of a velvety matte finish. I did not use a lip gloss on my lips for the first time, maybe ever, at least in a really long time, because I usually feel like I have to apply something. I need some sort of conditioning topper. I maybe can't rub my lips together as much as I could with a creamy lipstick, but they don't feel dry at all and they don't look dry. But I think it's nice. I love the eyeshadow palette. There's just something about the combination of colors in that eyeshadow palette. Love it. And the foundation I really like as well. I need to test it out. I need to wear it all day and probably keep wearing it a couple times before I completely make up my mind, but so far I think it looks really nice on the skin. The only two products I don't absolutely love are the Make Me Blush liquid blush from YSL and the Too Faced contour bronzing stick. The contour I think is just not the best shade. I'm glad it blended so easily, but it's also very soft. Like, I wasn't really hard on this when I applied it, and it just sort of melted and got sort of gross in there. So I'll still use it, but probably not my favorite cream contour stick product. Like, I would not rush out to purchase this. The YSL blush is nice. It just doesn't really feel like anything that innovative. Maybe we've just had too many liquid blushes. It's a pretty color. It blended really easily. It's more of a serum blush. So I think if you don't have a huge collection of blushes, I could see why somebody would really like this. This feels very good, not great. I'm not throwing it in the top drawer. Again, I wouldn't rush out to purchase this, and I don't feel like it made a huge difference with the makeup either. And that does it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you liked hearing my thoughts on these new products. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Leave me your comments, questions down below. As always, I will be linking everything mentioned, everything on my face. All of the information on the Eye Restore LED mask will be down below in the description box for your convenience. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.